Hey guys, so welcome back. I want to show you something I've been looking for a while to kind of help with my one setup and kind of keep error correct for my PlayStation 3 streams. Here is a Sony BRAVIA TV. So this specific one is a KDL-22BX300. It is a 22-inch BRAVIA screen, and it is part of the BX series Bravias. This specific one was manufactured, I think, in 2010. We'll take a look at the back later and then figure out exactly when. Did also get a hold of the remote that goes to it. This is an RM/YD035. So usually with ones from this era that I find, there is some kind of burn-in in the corners. This one seems to have no burn-in. It's a little scruffed up on the front plate, but I mean that's to be said from over a decade of use. That makes sense. It also has the energy sticker. It looks like it's been torn off and reapplied. I might just take it off and clean it off eventually. So let's take a basic look at the exterior. You have the status lights over here of power on, standby power. There is a light for timer, for if you have the timer to turn it off. And then there is a little thing over here for the IR reader for the remote. It's pretty standard. Nothing on the left side of it. Then on the back, we have the standard inputs. So we have actually component, but it looks like composite is running through this component line up here. This is more common for smaller ones, and it became more common with modern ones, where sometimes they'd have just component running into, or composite running into component. So we have two components or composite input. No S-video. We also have an input for VGA, which is marked PC usually on these, and then an aux port for computers as well, older ones usually. We have two HDMI ins, which is also useful for modern stuff. That's actually what this was made for. We do have RCA stereo out for audio out, and then we also have digital optical out for audio out. There's an RF connection, so there's a coaxial for that, cable TV, any old RF devices. Now there is a USB port on the back, but that is only for service use. I assume that it does put a little power out, but I don't think any modern streaming boxes would use that little amount of power to make it worth your while to try that. Standard points to mount this onto a wall mount instead of the foot stand that comes with it. We have info over here, standard stuff. I do think it's crazy they're still referred to as color TVs this far into the life cycle. I don't know of any consumer TVs that aren't colored TVs anymore. I don't even know many applications besides like specific devices that would be black and white or monochrome displays as far as LCDs go. Even this deep into it. So this specific one is made October 2010, making this thing well over a decade old. It's over 13 years old now. Now this will accept 1080p images into it through HDMI. I assume the same with component, although this does not have a 1080p display. So with LCDs of this era, it was very common, even years later, that the resolution is somewhere between, it's not quite 720p. It's close to 720p. It's something by 763. I'll put the actual specs up on the screen for the video to show you guys, but that was the common thing for most LCDs up to that point. We will check out the remote also. Standard stuff. Buttons for the volume, the channels, muting, jump to your last channel. You have a BRAVIA sync for BRAVIA sync devices buttons up there. Input, power. Wide mode for if you're using an old display or an old connection like composite. You got favorites, which I don't have any favorites. This TV's wiped clean. Got the standard menu. We got tools, which is a bunch of basic stuff to quick go to. MPEG noise reduction. We're just going to turn that off. Yeah, you got picture mode. I'm leaving that on standard. Audio, I'm leaving on standard. I'm not going to output to any devices at the moment. We're not going to use... Oh, I should have that off. It's weird. It's not letting me do it. Okay, that's because it's grayed out because I'm on HDMI. So you wouldn't affect that at all. I'm not going to do anything with cable TV. I don't have cable TV, and analog cable TV's been gone in the US for a while now. You can restrict it for parental locks. Set up closed captions on other devices, and then there's eco-saving modes. So I'm just going to leave those off because I'm not going to use this that regularly. Alright, so first we're going to plug in the PS3, because that is what I got this device for, or this display. And we'll show you guys how it looks. It looks pretty fine. Alright, so we're going to go over this again because it looks like it didn't actually hit record on my camcorder. But my main use for this display, or this TV, is for a PlayStation 3 display. So most PlayStation 3 games are scaled or run around 720p. There's a few exceptions that could run up to 1080p, and I believe most of the PlayStation classics also could be scaled up to 1080p. But in most cases, you would just run at 720p into an HDMI display. If you used a CRT back in the day, component video also. Yada yada. But everything looks fine, and my main purpose for that is because most capture devices will pick up the video just fine. There's just usually a bit of delay that, depending on the game, could be detrimentally annoying. So this just skips that. You output it to that, it goes through and bypasses, and it attaches to this display, and you have video without lag. Now we are going to go and switch over to the PS4, and I will show you what issues I was talking about beforehand. Alright, here we go. PlayStation 4 is hooked up. Now this will automatically go to 1080p. This display does accept 20p. So we're booting up to Metal Gear Solid, the Master Collection, because it's very easy to show you what I'm talking about in this, just with the UI in general as soon as it boots up. Yeah, so if you notice, 1080p images, there's terms like overscan and underscan for displays like this. You have a bit of it cut off. Especially noticeable there, because the cancel button's over there. I could switch the PlayStation 4 to 720p, but I don't intend to do that just with everything with my setup that I'm trying to kind of get going. But yeah, as far as my intents for what I'm going to use this display for, and for a small display for my streaming setup of PlayStation 3, it's still very useful. I mean, even if you got a hold of one of these and plugged a Chromecast into it and just used it as a basic display for maybe like kids or something, it can still be useful. It doesn't take up too much space, still has HDMI. The image is still pretty good. I haven't seen one of these that's messed up yet, which is more common with some older LCDs, and it was really good at the time. So, with all that in mind, I hope this gives you a better idea of what this TV does and what it can do. It's not an in-depth look at it, but it's still neat. I guess I could show you the service menu real quick, which we might as well. So, like Trinitron's is usually a service menu, there's not as much you can do. From what I've read, some models use the same service menu as a Trinitron, and then others have a new service model menu. So we'll try 5, volume, oops, I lost track of display. So, we'll try this again. Display, 5, volume up, power on. And that should boot it up into the service menu, unless that's the wrong combination. Nope, it's still the same combination. I'm probably not going to mess around with this. It looks like there's more than the last TV I kind of tried to mess with. Excuse me. Plus, I don't know as much about LCD calibration and such not. So we're going to leave this kind of as it is. I just wanted to show you that you could do that, and if you have an idea what you're doing, you could adjust it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you're having a good year so far. It's still relatively early in the year. I believe this is the end of the 2nd week. And by the time you're seeing this, it will probably be the 3rd week. So I hope you guys stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.